So I saw this question in the community. I figure I might as well answer it here. And the short answer is yes. The timestamps exist, by the way, in case you want to skip forward, because I will be going kind of the more simplified versions and then the detailed version, and then I want to show you a gameplay example. However, it's not going to be the specific example of giving items, because the most important part, in my opinion, is going to be actually getting the number, or tracking the number and using it. But I'm not going to be using it here because, again, there are a few ways you can implement this. In fact, you don't even need to implement it in the way I'm showing you. This is just one of a few examples at minimum. I know that at minimum there are a few ways you can answer this question in gameplay format. The first off being, most important note, this is with perm. You cannot do this with base custom content. Let me repeat that. You must be using and or creating content with perm. If you are not, this is not possible. Period. So, as we move into the actual other code, so this is something that I wanted to note earlier. If you see this little 2 lines above, I'll note this later on. But if it's required. But otherwise, this is essentially the ETO file that I'm working with here. The most important part is just this line, literally. So I could have cut everything out, but I wanted to show you the context in which this is used. So this is just spitting out text, as I will show you in a hot moment. But the important part is that you're making a call to some variable. In fact, you shouldn't even be using this variable. For those who don't know what this variable is, I'm pretty sure this is the number of complete mysteries. I did some testing before this recording. So if you call this variable, you will get the number of mysteries completed. However, again, as I mentioned earlier, there are other ways to track this. This is just the straight up way. And in fact, I would advise you to use another variable that basically makes it so, some variable equals mystery, so that you're not editing this actual number here. Because you don't want it to mess up anything in game, pretty much. So, there's more I could say on that, but again, I want to keep things simple for the moment. So, you'll see this as I drop the screen here, which is why I have a run loaded up, but essentially, we are making a call to that number here. So as you just saw in code, it says counting and then the actual number of mysteries we completed. And if you look at the top right, we completed 3 mysteries so far. So I'm pretty sure this is the correct one. If not, what was all that bug testing I was doing at the very beginning? But yes, and so while this isn't giving you an item, this is the most important part, because after you get the number, you can basically just make if-else statements. That's my brute force way. And then say, hey, if you completed 1 mystery, give this item. If you completed 2, give this item. 3, 4, 5, so on and so forth, right? Well, actually, if you do 5, you can't see it anymore. But you get the point, because the specific question was talking about in the middle of a custom mystery, and we're in the middle of a custom mystery. So if I go out, you'll notice this is actually the template mystery that I made, and I forgot to upload. But I edited it so that I can basically test what's going on here. So let's actually get into a run and see it work with, let's just say, even 1 mystery for the sake of keeping this video short. This is a bonus thing, by the way, and yes, I was sitting there for about a good 90 minutes, so so this is with perm 1.48, the bare minimum. You could probably be using an earlier version, but there's not really any reason to. So we're going to customize gameplay here, and we're going to actually pick Mizuki, because I like to. We're not going to pick Harbinger of Doom, because, we're just going to test out something, and I don't want to waste time. Now, the even more sophisticated way that I could have made this video would be to have, we're actually not going to do a whole run, so I don't know why I'm looking at the lighthouse, would be to make cuts here and there, but for the sake of my own comfort, I'm just going to do 1 recording here, just to show you how quickly you can at least bug test something if nothing else. So, we're going to be looking for template here, and we're going to save that for after 1 mystery. So, as I forget to do Mizuki things, but that's fine for the moment, I'm taking a look at, because we got a thingy-majiggy. So, yes, with perm, even base content like Mizuki can pick up custom content with their abilities. In this case, Mizuki gets a free ally, and it picks from the ally pool, and we have a perm ally here. So, shrugged, I was like, why do I have 10 charisma because of that? But, yeah, so we're going to go through this 1 mystery, and then just to show you what it looks like when you are counting mysteries. I could just have gone the whole way and made an item, but that would, partly, yes, I am a little lazy. But again, I do think the most important part is knowing which variables to use, or basically knowing how to count mysteries. And I'll explain the other way right now, because we're autopiloting here. So the other way you could have done what I'm doing here, so giving an item based on the number of mysteries completed, is essentially you could just give a custom status effect, but that doesn't simply answer the question that I think was asked in the community. So that's why I'm showing you the more straightforward answer. Period. That's the end of the sentence. But alternatively, you could make, say, a character with a custom status effect that counts the mysteries, because you cannot make custom content, not give it to the player during the run, and have that work. I, in fact, specifically tested such a thing. So if you don't know what I mean, I basically made kind of a... I'm trying not to use programming terms here. Not that I know a lot. I basically made a piece of custom content, let's just say an item, that makes the variable up, but until you get that item, the variable is actually not in play. So for example, if you made an item that says, hey, when the game loads, set up this variable. However, you want to be able to track the number of completed mysteries as you complete mysteries. The item can't track that because it doesn't exist in the game, basically. And so you cannot just make something that is never used just for the purpose of making variables and whatnot. You can in a sort of... you can, but again, that does not... any way you would do that is not answering the question that the question of this video would be satisfied with, basically. So, without further ado, let's use template here and get into this event. So we completed one mystery, this number after I change it. So say, you know, I pick the choice and it gives me an item. It would give me an item based on, again, this number 1. Right now it's just spitting out text, but you understand the concept, I think, at this point. Again, I do one last time, I do think the most important part of this implementation, again, giving an item based on the number of completed mysteries, is getting the number of completed mysteries, in which, again, just use the mysteries variable, and I would highly suggest you copy that to another custom perm variable. That way you can work on that anytime you want. Because who knows, right? Maybe you want to do something with that number. I don't know. I can't think of an example off the top of my head. But at least in programming practice, you don't want to be editing variables like the mysteries variable. You want to be editing something that you can use for yourself, that you create, so that in case you want to do something else later on, you can do so without having to rely too much on this, we'll call it a global variable, because it, again, exists in World of Horror. This is not for any meta reason that I'm telling you to copy a variable. It's literally just good coding / programming practice, I believe, anyway. But yeah, without further ado, this is a bonus episode. I should be coming out with another one later on if we're talking about meta stuff, but yeah, not really much else to say. If you have any other questions, comments, concerns, criticisms, feel free to let me know. I'll try to answer it, especially as it relates to this topic. But otherwise, I'll see you in a later video. Bye!